100 of a second, one blink, and history changes. For more than 90 years, one brand has been trusted to measure that blink, not to celebrate it, not to sponsor it from the sidelines, but to define it. Welcome to Social Brody Podcast, the podcast where we break down sponsorship deals, events, and the business logic behind the biggest partnership in the world. If you're interested in why brands sponsor events, how these deals actually work, and what makes a sponsorship successful or risky, you are in the right place. Before we talk about Omega, let's zoom out for a second. The Olympic Games aren't just a sponsoring event. They are one of the most valuable global platforms in existence. Every 4 years, billions of people tune in, more than 200 nations participate, and games generate billions in sponsorship revenue, global media rights, and brand exposure. But the real value of the Olympics isn't reach, it's meaning. The Olympics represents excellence, fairness, global unity, and human potential. And that kind of symbolic capital is incredibly rare. For brands, sponsoring the Olympics isn't just about visibility, it's about borrowing credibility from one of the most respected institutions in the world. That's why Olympic sponsorship isn't cheap, and that's why it is so powerful. In the previous episode, we talked about Coca-Cola, a brand that connected itself emotionally to the games. Today, we are looking at something different. Because if Coca-Cola represents celebration, then Omega represents precision. Omega has been the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932, and that is not just a sponsorship. It's a responsibility. Omega's Olympic journey began at the 1932 Summer Olympics. At the time, timekeeping wasn't far from perfect. Races were measured by hand. Omega sent a single watchmaker to Los Angeles with just 30 precision chronographs. Think about that image. One technician only, 30 mechanical stopwatches, an entire Olympic Games. Insane, crazy. It sounds small as well, but strategically, it was monumental. Because Omega didn't enter the Olympics as a logo sponsor, it entered as a solution. And that distinction changes everything. From a sponsorship theory perspective, this was an early example of functional integration, embedding your brand into the operational core of the event. Omega wasn't renting attention, it was building authority. The real genius of Omega's Olympic partnership is that it evolved with the technology. In 1948, Omega introduced photoelectric timing at the London Games, replacing human reactions time with electronic precision. That innovation alone significantly reduced measurement errors. But the real breakthrough came in 1968 at the 1968 Summer Olympics. This was the first Olympics to use touchpads in swimming. Before that, judges visually determined finishes in the pool. Crazy, right? Close races could be controversial, but with touchpads, swimmers physically stopped the clock themselves. That changed the psychology of the sport. And then came the Scan-O Vision photo finish camera. Instead of capturing a single image, it records continuous slit images across the finish line, allowing officials to see exact body positions at the exact moment of crossing. Think about iconic moments, the 100-meter final decided by thousandths of the second, swimming races where fingertips determined Olympics championships, sky races where downhill speed exceeded 130 kilometers per hour and margins were microscopic. Omega's system measured them all. Today, Omega uses quantum timers, pressure-sensitive starting blocks that detect false starts in less than 0.0001 seconds, and sensors embedded in equipment. This is where sponsorship meets engineering. And in marketing theory, this is powerful. It demonstrates precision in front of billions. That's proof-based positioning at the highest level. Now, let's zoom out strategically. Omega is a swift luxury watchmaker. In the luxury category, credibility is everything. Luxury brands rely on what economics call signal theory. They must signal quality, craftsmanship, and superiority. The Olympics provide a perfect signaling environment. When the world's best athletes rely on Omega's timing, that association strengthens the brand prestige. Over decades, a psychological shortcut has formed. Olympic timing equals Omega, Omega equals precision. That's category ownership. Every 4 years, billions of viewers see the Omega logo next to the official results. It was not a decoration, but as validation. That placement builds institutional trust. If a close finish sparks controversy, even if the technology works flawlessly, Omega becomes part of that conversation. There have been races so close that even photo finish results were debated publicly. Social media applies scrutiny, and that highlights something important in sponsorship theory. Functional sponsors carry high reputational exposure. If a traditional sponsor faces criticism, it can distance itself. But Omega cannot, because if timing fails, the event itself fails. There is also criticism about commercialization. Some argue that core Olympic functions should remain completely neutral, without broad integration. But there is the paradox. The reasons Omega's sponsorship is powerful is exactly because it is indispensable. It is not a banner on the side of a stadium, it is the system that determines who wins. So, what can we learn from Omega? First, that sponsorship doesn't have to be loud to be dominant. Second, that owning a functional category can be more powerful than owning advertising space. Third, that repetition over decades builds cognitive monopoly. Omega doesn't need emotional storytelling campaigning around or during the Olympics. The Olympic Games themselves are the storytelling engine. Every gold medal validated by Omega strengthens the brand. Every world record measured by Omega reinforces its positioning. And perhaps most importantly, the strongest sponsorship doesn't feel like a sponsorship. It feels necessary. Omega doesn't interrupt the Olympic experience. It defines it. And it was episode 2 of Social Brody. If you enjoy exploring the deeper strategy behind global sponsorship and icon partnership, make sure to follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music. And the next time, we move from the Olympic arena to what many call the queen of motorsport, Formula One. But we won't analyze lap times or strategy. We will look at something that has quietly become its own marketing battleground: the car launch events, where teams reveal their new liveries and machines. Which team created the biggest spectacle? Who turned a technical presentation into a global entertainment show? Because in Formula One, performance matters, but presentations win headlines. So, see you in the next episode of Social Broading.